Hey, so this is a response to what's his name? Father of Patriarchy, Lord of Patriarchy, Lord of Patriarchy. Had to look on my phone for that. Lord of Patriarchy apparently did a live stream on Twitch, and he discussed my video from yesterday. So, uh, since I can't really do the OBS thing where I'm looking at his stream and going through point by point. I'm just kind of working off of memory right now. So he brings up the fact that I clear my throat a lot in yesterday's video. Um, that is true. I have been sick for some time now. And because of my living situation, my house gets very musty and very humid. So I stay sick for longer. And yesterday it was extremely humid. So I had mucus all in my lungs. Uh, Now, he discusses the COVID claim. He essentially claims that it was more serious than I made it out to be. But the thing is, with COVID, in March in March 2020 when I made my prediction, the all the mainstream agencies, I believe the World Health Organization themselves actually claimed that there would be 220 million deaths by September 2020. Going on 6 years now, it's been over 6 years, and there are only about 8 million deaths worldwide. So I was correct in saying that it was not that serious. It is not 220 million deaths in 6 months. It is 8 million deaths in 6 years. That's still that's a bad flu, but that's not the cataclysmic catastrophe that people were making it out to be in 2020. Then he discusses how I don't believe in the mainstream media, but I believe Twitter. Well, the thing is, I believe Twitter because they have evidence. Evidence is different than claims. Claims are made by the media that contradict the evidence. As in the case of the 2020 election, there was a mountain of evidence that there was fraud. There were the Dominion voting systems. There were the dead people who voted. There were the videos of people tampering with ballots. There were hundreds of these videos. And then, of course, there were the numbers themselves. Saying that just saying that there was no fraud does not make the evidence go away. The evidence speaks for itself. So the medium where the evidence is shared does not matter. Then he goes on to criticize my belief in Civil War, or my former belief in Civil War. He is correct in that. I was mistaken about this. I thought there would be more unity after the 2020 election. I did not realize just how divided the right was. I did not realize that there was never going to be any unity on the right. And also, at the time, I had not read a lot of the books that I have read now. I didn't start my reading journey until 2021, actually. If you recall correctly, if you've watched my channel for some time, you recall correctly that I began purchasing large quantities of books in 2021, and I began reading them en masse in 2021. And I've been doing that ever since. So a lot of the books that I have influenced me, I didn't even read in 2020. I hadn't even come into contact with by 2020. So now he also challenged me to name 5 books that counter the claim of civilizational collapse. Oh, also he kind of uses anecdote to disprove civilizational collapse, which is fallacious. Civilizational collapse, of course, is a theory on the right. It is a very common theory on the right. People widely believe it on the right. So to say that I'm an imbecile for believing it is very disingenuous. Um, people are a lot of people are convinced of it, and there is some evidence of it. But the thing that I noticed is that the evidence of civilizational collapse is, by reading my books, the evidence of civilizational collapse has existed pretty much forever. So some books that I have gone through that since 2021 that have convinced me that civilizational collapse is not happening. I listened to an audiobook of Oswald Spengler's The Decline of the West. And so I read Ideas Have Consequences by Richard Weaver. I listened to an audiobook of Revolt Against the Modern World by Julius Evola. I listened to a couple of audiobooks from Thomas Carlyle. And I read Chris Hedges' Empire of Illusion. I also read The Closing of the American Mind by Alan Bloom. All these books are making very similar complaints, but they are from very different time periods. Carlyle was back in the 1800s. He died in 1881, so his books are mid 1800s at best. And the common theme is that these things have been happening for hundreds of years. They aren't new. They aren't necessarily getting worse. I mean, it seems pretty bad right now, but it was this way back in the 70s. It was this way back in the 90s. Well, it was almost this bad in the 90s, but it was this way. It has been this way before. Things have been the same, relatively the same, for hundreds of years. I haven't read a whole lot of books from the Enlightenment era of England, but I imagine that there would be problems that are very relatable in those books. So yeah, those are some books that I've read. But you got to remember that I didn't start my reading journey until 2021, and some of these predictions that I made were in 2020, when I was going through a tough time, and like I had just gotten over a bout of homelessness. I was having emotional issues. I had a bad breakup, and on top of that, there were all these political influences and different theories that were influencing me that I now believe are wrong because I've done the reading to say that they are wrong. So, but yeah, I didn't do that reading until 2021. Hopefully, the Lord of Patriarchy is a reasonable dude and will understand where I'm coming from. Thank you for watching. Peace.